My mother wrote a rule on our fridge in red marker. Vanessa's permission required. It meant I couldn't even call 911 or see a doctor unless my twin sister said yes. I asked 42 times while my lungs were failing, but they spent $12,400 on her modeling instead. At her sweet 16 party, I finally collapsed into the cake. What I did next made my parents' faces turn as white as my sister's dress. My name is Ellie Marsh. I'm 16 years old, a junior at Harper North High School in Westfield, New Jersey. I have severe asthma, a cluster of food allergies my doctor calls complicated peanuts, shellfish, sulfa drugs, and a scar on my stomach from when I was 13 and my lips turned blue on a Tuesday afternoon. I also have an identical twin sister named Vanessa, who was born 4 minutes before me and has spent every day since then reminding me of it. Vanessa is the golden twin. That's not my word. That's what my Aunt Carol called her at Thanksgiving when I was 12, and my mother laughed and said, "Well, you're not wrong." Vanessa started modeling at 13. By 15, she had 80,000 followers on Instagram and a portfolio that cost my parents $12,400 the year I turned 14. That same year, my pulmonologist asked for a follow-up chest scan. My mother said we couldn't afford it. Our living room has one shelf of family photos. Every single frame is Vanessa. Ballet at 7. First headshot at 13. Milan test shoot at 15. There is exactly one picture of me in that house, and it's in the hallway, and I'm in it because Vanessa is standing next to me. I don't say any of this to make you feel sorry for me. I say it so you understand the math. In our family, resources flowed one direction. Attention flowed one direction. And when I got sick, which was often, because my lungs have never been right, it was treated as an interruption of that flow. When I was 11, I had a bad reaction to a generic antibiotic. My face swelled, my throat closed partway, and I begged to go to the ER. My father said I looked fine. My mother called Vanessa into the kitchen. Vanessa, 11 years old, in pajamas, looked at me for about 6 seconds and said, "She's faking. She does this." My parents nodded. We didn't go. I slept on the bathroom tile that night so I could drink from the faucet when my throat wouldn't open. The next morning, my mother wrote the rule on the fridge, in red marker, on a magnet shaped like a strawberry. It said, "Vanessa's permission required." She said it was because Vanessa knew me better than anyone. I was 11. I believed her. By the time I was 15, Vanessa had said yes exactly once. 3 days before the Sweet 16, I asked for the 43rd time. It was a Wednesday. I woke up with a tight band across my ribs, like someone had pulled a belt one notch too far. My face was puffy on the left side. I took my temperature on the blue digital thermometer in the hallway closet, 38.6 Celsius. I climbed the stairs to tell my mother, and I had to stop on the landing to breathe. She was in the kitchen, taping seating charts to the counter. Vanessa had insisted on assigned seats because a Manhattan modeling scout named Lena Fields was flying down from the city, and she wanted Lena next to her, not near what she called the boring cousins. I said, "Mom, I need to see Dr. Alvarez. Something's wrong with my lungs." She didn't look up. She said, "Honey, we're 72 hours out. Let me call your sister." Vanessa was at a nail salon on Elm. Mom put her on speaker. I could hear the hum of a polish dryer and another girl laughing. My mother said, "Elle thinks she needs Dr. Alvarez." There was a pause. Then Vanessa laughed. "She always does this before my big days," she said. "Remember Paris? Remember last Halloween?" "Mom, please. Not this weekend." My mother nodded, even though Vanessa couldn't see her. She hung up. She looked at me and said, "You know the rules, sweetheart. Drink some water." I went back to my room. My father passed me in the hallway and pulled my door shut behind me without saying a word. I sat on my bed, opened Vanessa's texts, and screenshotted the one she'd sent me at 9:02 that morning. "Don't you dare ruin this one, Ellie. I mean it." I uploaded it to a folder I had just created on my drive. I named the folder House Rules. I waited until afternoon, when my mother left for the caterer. Then I walked down the hallway with my phone in my hand, dialing Dr. Alvarez's after-hours line. I got as far as the first ring. Vanessa came out of the bathroom in a robe and a clay mask and saw the screen. She crossed the hallway in 3 steps and grabbed my wrist. Her acrylics, French tip, 2 inches long, filed that morning dragged down my forearm. 3 parallel cuts, from elbow to wrist, beaded blood before I even felt it. "You're not ruining my shoot schedule," she said. Not loud. Almost bored. Like she was correcting a spelling mistake. I took my phone and walked out the back door, because if I stayed in that hallway, I was going to scream. Jenny lives next door. She's 21, a third-year med student at Rutgers, and she was dragging a hose across her yard when she saw my arm. She didn't say anything dramatic. She walked to the fence, lifted the latch, and said, "Sit down on my steps." Now, she pulled a pulse oximeter out of her back pocket. She carries one because her mother has clipped it to my finger and watched the screen for 10 seconds. Then she counted my breathing for another 10. "Ellie," she said, "your oxygen is 89. You're taking 28 breaths a minute. This is an emergency." I said, "I'm not allowed." She stared at me for a long second. Then she said, "I'm calling my friend Ted. He used to be pre-med. He's 3 minutes away." Ted showed up with a camera bag over one shoulder and a flannel unbuttoned over a white tee. He was 22. He didn't ask questions. He just looked at my arm, looked at Jenny, and said, "Okay." Jenny walked me back into my kitchen. She dialed 911, and her thumb was on the second one when my father came down the stairs. He's a big man, 6'2", former offensive lineman, runs a roofing crew in Union County. He covered the phone with his whole hand before she could press the last number. He yanked it out of her fingers. He backed her into the pantry door. "No ambulances in this house," he said, "until the party is over." My mother stood in the doorway of the dining room, holding a stack of place cards. She watched. She did not move. Jenny said, very quietly, "Sir, she's hypoxic." My father said, "She's fine. She does this." He turned to me. "Go upstairs. Fix your arm. Put on long sleeves, and do not embarrass your sister tomorrow." I went upstairs. Ted had come in through the back screen door. He was standing in the corner of the kitchen, behind the fridge, by the broom closet. He had his phone up at chest level, angled on the counter so it looked like it was off. The recording indicator was on. He had started filming the moment he heard my father's voice. Ted kept filming. Nobody noticed the red light. I didn't sleep. At 5 a.m., I tried to go to the bathroom and my legs gave out on the rug. I crawled. I drank from the faucet again, same as when I was 11. My lips were the color of the inside of a seashell. My mother found me at 6. She didn't scream. She didn't call anyone. She sat me on the toilet lid, took a tube of Fenty concealer, shade 240, and worked it over the blue around my mouth with the pad of her ring finger. "Just 2 hours, honey," she kept saying. "Smile for 2 hours. We'll talk after." She zipped me into the dress. It was a size 4 from Zara, cobalt blue, with a fitted waist that pressed on my lower ribs every time I tried to inhale. She parted my hair with a rat tail comb. She hummed. Vanessa walked in at 7:30 in a white silk robe, holding a ceramic mug with the word "mine" on the side in gold cursive. She set it down on my dresser. She looked at me in the mirror. "Ellie," she said, almost gentle, "if you ruin this for Lena Fields, I will make sure you regret it for the rest of your life." She picked a hair off my shoulder. She left. I sat there for a minute. Then I reached into the small clutch my mother had picked out for me, turned on the voice recorder on my phone, and slid it back in, microphone pointed up. The backyard had a white tent, a DJ booth, and 180 folding chairs and cream slipcovers. There were 3 cameras from the agency on tripods. There was a 4-tier cake on a round table at the edge of the dance floor. Lena Fields arrived at 1:15. She was 40, black blazer, low ponytail, reading glasses on a chain. She shook Vanessa's hand for a long time. Vanessa walked her down the line of family. She got to me last. "This is my shy sister," Vanessa said. "She's a little under the weather. Allergies. You know how girls are." Lena tilted her head. She looked at me for maybe 2 seconds longer than was polite. I tried to say hello. What came out was a sound like a door that needed oil. Vanessa laughed, bright and fast. "See? Allergies." Over Lena's shoulder I could see Jenny. She was standing at the edge of the yard, by the fence, in a sundress she had clearly borrowed for the occasion. She had her phone in her hand. She was watching my chest rise and fall. I could tell she was counting. I counted with her. 32, 34. My heart did something it had never done before, a hard double beat, then a long pause, then a thud. I shifted my weight to stay upright. I counted 4 more breaths. I counted 3. I felt my knees unlock. Lena was still smiling at Vanessa. "Before you hear about the cake, you need to hear about the folder." Rewind 18 hours. It was the night before the party. I was sitting on Jenny's bedroom floor in borrowed sweatpants, my laptop open on a beanbag. Downstairs, her mother was making chamomile tea. Ted had gone home to transfer footage. Ginny sat across from me with her own laptop, sharing the charger. "Ellie," she said, "I need you to upload everything. Tonight, before tomorrow happens." Then she said, "If something goes wrong at that party, your phone goes home with your parents. Your laptop goes home with your parents. And every record we have disappears with them." I opened iMessage and scrolled back 2 years. The old texts. Vanessa, February, 2 years earlier, 11:47 at night, "Go cry to mom again. It's free entertainment." I had asked, again, to see Dr. Alvarez, a 6-week rash. Another thread from that June. "If you're really dying, stop texting and go, otherwise sleep." A third, from the summer before, after I spent an afternoon in urgent care that my mother paid cash for so my father wouldn't see it. "LOL, did you get a sticker?" I screenshotted 41 messages. I filed them by date. The scars. I lifted my shirt and Ginny took clinical photographs, white background, ruler and frame. The 6-centimeter scar across my lower abdomen from the hive's reaction at 13. 2 small round scars on my forearm from an IV the ER had left in too long. A raised patch on my collarbone from a delayed epi shot. Ginny uploaded them with captions like "untreated anaphylactic scarring, age 13 and delayed epinephrine, age 14. I had never heard them named that way before. Ted's video. Ginny's phone buzzed. Ted had airdropped the file from his apartment. 1 minute and 47 seconds. Taken from the corner of my kitchen, my father's voice came through at the 53-second mark, clean and unmistakable. "No ambulances in this house until the party is over." Ginny labeled the file 911 obstruction, 9:47 a.m. She uploaded it. The voice memo. I opened a voice memo my sister had sent her boyfriend 2 weeks before the party. It had synced to my iPad through the shared family iCloud. Vanessa had never been the one who cared about settings. It was 41 seconds long. She was laughing when she said, "I'll let her cough until Monday." It's cute watching her panic. My hands didn't shake. That's the part I remember most. I played it twice. Then I played it a third time, and I held the phone up to Ginny so she could hear. Ginny said, very quietly, "That's the one." Neither of us said what we were both thinking, that my twin sister had just described my suffocating as cute. We went back into the drive. I had named the parent folder House Rules the afternoon Vanessa scratched my wrist. Ginny created a subfolder inside it. She typed the name with one finger, slowly, the way you type something into a legal document. The subfolder said, "Medical Neglect Twin Case." The phrase was not one I had ever said out loud. Seeing it typed, in Ginny's lowercase font, made it sound less like a crime and more like a diagnosis. She moved 47 files into it. 1.2 gigabytes. She exported copies to her own iCloud and to a Gmail account neither of my parents knew existed. She did it without once asking me if I was sure. I saved the file to 3 clouds. Then, I zipped up my dress. Back on Ginny's bedroom floor, before I went home, she made me do the math out loud. She said, "If you go quiet, here's what you keep. A bedroom, a last name, a college fund they can still cancel. A father who will let you into the ER, only on the days it doesn't inconvenience him. A sister who will sign yes the next time she feels generous, and no the next time she has a casting." She paused. "Here's what you lose. Your lungs. Maybe your heart. Maybe a week from now. Maybe a year. I'm not being dramatic, Ellie. I'm telling you what your oxygen number means." She pulled up a contact on her phone and turned the screen to me. Dr. Priya Keller, Pulmonology, Overlook Medical Center. Ginny's mother's doctor for 9 years. Ginny had already called her that morning. "Doctor," Keller had said, "if you bring her in, I will see her. Off the books if I have to." I thought about the $38,000 in the joint college fund. I thought about my aunt's guest room and how quiet it might be. I thought about my mother finding the magnet gone from the fridge. Then I thought about the voice memo. I said, "Okay." Ginny said, "Okay." The morning of the party, I came downstairs at 7:15, before Vanessa was up. The kitchen was empty. The caterers hadn't arrived yet. The coffee maker was beeping. The fridge was humming. And on the freezer door, at eye level, was the magnet, shaped like a strawberry. My mother had picked it up on a trip to Cape May when we were 9. In red marker, across the green plastic leaves, she had written 5 words I had been reading for 5 years. Vanessa's permission required. I stood in front of it for a long time, longer than I meant to. I looked at the rule my mother had written in red pen and took a photo. Then I took another one, closer, so the pen strokes were sharp. Then I took a third with my hand in the frame, for scale. I uploaded all 3 into the house rules folder. I was putting my phone back in my pocket when Vanessa walked in barefoot, wrapped in the silk robe, already on a call with someone at the agency. She saw me near the fridge. She lowered the phone. She said, "Don't even think about it, Ellie. You'll always need my permission." Her eyes were flat. She actually smiled. For the first time in 16 years, I realized I had never actually said no to her, not once in 16 years. Not out loud. Not to her face. Every fight I had lost had been lost in my own head, on a bathroom tile, on a bedroom floor, in the margin of some room where she wasn't even listening. I didn't answer her. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I smiled at Vanessa and walked outside. I was done asking. At 2:04 in the afternoon, Vanessa stepped up to the microphone. The DJ faded the music. 180 guests turned in their chairs. Lena Fields stood at the edge of the tent with a glass of champagne and a small smile. 3 agency cameras tracked my sister as she tucked her hair behind her ear and took a breath. "Thank you all for being here on my special." I didn't hear the rest. My heart did the thing again. A hard double beat, a long pause. Then the pause did not end. My chest tried to pull in air and got nothing. The cobalt blue dress locked around my ribs like a fist, the white tint tilted. My vision narrowed to the 4-tier cake on the round table at the edge of the dance floor, and the narrowing kept going. I put my hand out to steady myself. My hand landed on the cake. The round table went sideways. 4 tiers of buttercream came down across my dress, across the grass, across a woman's open toe heels. A bowl of strawberries broke. Somebody screamed. Somebody else said, very clearly, "Oh, Ellie, not now." That was my mother. I hit the grass on my side. My lips were closed. My chest was not moving. 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Dr. Keller would tell me later, measured from the moment Jenny's hand touched my neck. Jenny jumped the fence. She did not go around. She did not call out. She cleared the white picket in one motion, dropped her clutch, and landed on her knees beside me with 2 fingers already on my carotid. She said, out loud, in a voice every guest in the front 3 rows heard, "No pulse. Someone call 911. Now." My father came out of the crowd at a run. He was in his navy blazer. His hand reached for Jenny's shoulder. His face was not afraid for me. His face was afraid of the cameras. He grabbed Jenny's shoulder and said, low, not in front of the scout. A few guests heard him. The ones who heard him went very still. Ted was already standing. He had pulled a portable Bluetooth speaker from his camera bag, and his phone was in his other hand, and his thumb was on play. The backyard filled with my father's own voice, from 9:47 the morning before, at 70% volume. "No ambulances in this house until the party is over." He said it twice on the recording. He said it clearly. He said it in the kitchen I had grown up in. 180 people heard my father block a 911 call while his daughter's oxygen was at 89. The DJ, to his credit, cut his own microphone. Vanessa took a step back from the stage. She looked at Lena. Her mouth opened, and a sound came out that wasn't a word. Lena Fields put down her champagne, looked at Vanessa, and walked out. Jenny started compressions. A guest I had never met, a cousin of a cousin, dialed 911 on a shaking hand. Somewhere in the crowd, a woman was saying, "Oh my God," over and over. My mother stood by the DJ booth, holding a stack of place cards she had forgotten she was holding. 4 minutes and 12 seconds later, the paramedics got my heart to start again. I was, by the clinical definition, dead for all of them. Dr. Priya Keller was the one who read my chest scan in the ICU. She put it up on the light box, circled 2 white streaks along the lower lobes with her pen, and said, "This scarring is years old. This is medical neglect, documented." A social worker named Maya sat with me for 2 hours. She interviewed Jenny, Ted, and 3 guests. She watched Ted's video. She listened to the voice memo. My mother came to the ICU doorway twice. The first time she was holding a coffee and crying and saying, "It was a misunderstanding." Maya stepped between us and said, "Ma'am, not right now." My mother did not come the second day. My father texted me from the hospital parking lot at 11 p.m. "Come home or lose everything." I screenshotted it. I forwarded it to Maya. I added it to the folder. Lena Fields' agency dropped Vanessa in 48 hours. The clip of my father saying no ambulances was already in 3 agency group chats by then. Vanessa's 80,000 followers became 12,000 in a week. Dr. Keller signed off as the authority physician on my medical emancipation petition. The family court judge approved it in 19 days. Jenny's parents, her father is a quiet man who restores boats in his garage, filed for temporary foster placement. Approved. My parents were charged with medical neglect of a minor and obstruction of emergency services. The case is still moving. A month later, I sit in a kitchen with no magnet on the fridge. A home health nurse comes Wednesdays. I can climb a flight of stairs without stopping. The golden twin text thread on my phone is archived, not deleted. My lawyer asked me to keep it. I used to think I was the broken twin. Turns out I was just the one telling the truth. My sister's permission is not a medical credential.